When you switch from your pistol, your player immediately grabs the weapon on your right side. You want the weapon on your right side to be your quick fire weapon. What's up guys, Darkdally here playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and today I want to show you guys what I think is one of the leading and most versatile loadouts in the game. And the reason I'm doing this is because earlier today my team and I, we were doing a live stream, and I had so many people asking me what weapons I use, what's my favorite, you know, what's the best loadout. I had a lot of those questions during the live stream. Now, if you don't know my channel, the reason people are asking that is because I've done so much Ghost Recon Wildlands weapons testing. You know, I put out hundreds of videos since Wildlands came out, and many of my videos focus on testing weapons. Everything from, you know, bullet drop to scope sway to accuracy, damage, rate of fire, recoil, etc. And so people know that, you know, I know my guns. I know my guns in this game. Alright guys, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you guys the loadout I use. I'm going to show you the weapons I use, each part, and why those parts are on the weapons. And we'll have a look at that. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so let's have a look at my loadout. Let's just go there right now. Alright, let's go over to loadout. First of all, if you want to know what gear I'm wearing, because a lot of people were asking me that as well. This is my favorite. I've kept this for a couple months now and not changed my gear because I just like this outfit so much. If you want to know this outfit, I'll actually show you real quick here. This is the same outfit I wore in the EKO Cobra build video. I'll have a link to that in the description if you haven't seen that. This is the same outfit. The only difference is I changed the top. I was wearing the chopper helmet, and I changed it to the sonar goggles. Now, aside from that, here's the clothes I'm wearing. And it's all just black and olive drab. It's nice and very simple. I think simple is the way to go. And here's my accessories, so you can see what I'm wearing if you wanted to know. Alright, so let's have a look at the weapons. Here's what I want to do in this video. I want to show you the weapons I'm using and why I'm using them. That's the most important part. Now, let's start down here. Let's start with the easy one. Let's start with the pistol. Let's have a look at it. A lot of people ask me what pistol to use and why. To be honest, all of these pistols, though they have very different stats, they really all do the same thing. And let me tell you why. It doesn't matter what pistol you use. Let's go back to my, I'm using the SIG P227. Now, the reason your pistol doesn't matter is because if you're using a pistol, then you're using it in stealth. If you're not using it in stealth, then you're either just having fun on your own or you're doing it wrong, because these things are very ineffective in the game of Ghost Recon Wildlands. I'm sorry, but they are. It can take as many as 7 or 8 shots sometimes to down one enemy, you know, if you're in a harder difficulty. So if you're using a pistol, I mean, basically, like I said, unless you're sport shooting, just having fun, if you're seriously using one, you're using it in stealth, right? So if you're using it in stealth, then it only takes 1 or 2 shots to down an enemy anyway. So it doesn't matter about stats, that's what I'm saying. So stats don't matter as far as pistols go, so therefore, use whatever pistol you want. I use the P227. Why? I like the sights. I like the iron sights on it. And that's why I use it. And that's really the only thing that matters. Magazine capacity and, you know, whether or not you like the sights pretty much is the only thing you have to consider when, you know, when you're looking at a pistol. So let's just get that out of the way right now. There's that. Now let's go on to the other 2 weapons. Now, your 2 primary weapons. Here I have the TAR-21 and the Mark 14. And these are the 2 that I choose to run in this loadout. Now, sometimes I change it up. Sometimes you'll see me using the LVOAC Bad News. Sometimes you'll see me using the SR-25, and the SR-25 admittedly is my favorite sniper rifle. But there's a very particular reason I'm using the Mark 14, and I'll get to that here in a second. So, ideally, you want this loadout of these 2 weapons right here, you want them to complement each other. You know, if you're playing at a really hard difficulty, you want a versatile setup, and you want the 2 weapons you're using to complement one another. Let's go ahead and have a look at it. So here's the TAR-21 that I use. Let's go ahead and, whoops, my parts are actually wrong on that. I just noticed that. Let's go ahead and, I run a V2 compensator. I was running a suppressor for some reason. Now here's the setup I use on my TAR-21. So this is my primary weapon that I use in my loadout. And I'll tell you why I have every part on here that I do. Alright, so I use a Comp M4 sight. The reason why I use it, it has good, quick, it has good zoom, and it's really quick to acquire your target, and it's very accurate. From my experience, So that's why I use the Comp M4 sight specifically over other sights. There are others, there are other optic systems I like. Like, for instance, I'm a big fan of the ACOG, where's it at? The TA31H. I'm a big fan of this one as well. But, and I'll tell you the role this weapon has in my loadout. This weapon is, I run this weapon loud. So my primary weapon is a loud weapon. Now, some people may be opposed to that because they want to do this game stealthily. But here's the way I see it. Shit happens in this game. You get discovered, and then you have to go loud, eventually. So why not just start loud? Now, some people may be opposed to that train of thought, but that's okay because we'll get to the stealth part, because my other weapon in my loadout is my stealth weapon. This is my primary weapon. I don't start off with this weapon. When I engage in combat, I usually engage with my pistol or my sniper rifle, but this is my primary one because this is my go-to, and I'll explain exactly why. I know you may be like, I'll explain exactly why. All right, so let's move down here. I say use the large magazine because why not? It makes your reload take slightly longer, but it's really the only thing it affects, and it's really not that big a deal. I say run the big magazine. The only reason to run a smaller magazine is for aesthetics, and this magazine looks pretty fine, in my opinion. The Foregrip V4, the reason I run this is the best, this is the #1 recoil control device right here. Grenade launchers actually control recoil pretty well, but the V4 Foregrip will control your recoil better. That's why I use this. Why am I using the rangefinder? Let's go down here and I'll show you. Let's switch down to barrels first. Looking at barrels, I'm using the shorter barrel on my TAR-21. The reason I'm using the shorter barrel is it's quicker to aim and has better recoil control and everything. It's just the only thing the short barrel deprives you of is it's gonna, well, supposedly damage your damage bar drops, but to be honest, I don't know how much that affects. To be quite honest, guys, I've done a lot of testing. And maybe we'll do a future video on that. I can't really prove it actually deprives you of any damage. The main thing this deprives you of is accuracy over range, and that's why we have the rangefinder. I run the short barrel. It's much quicker to aim the rifle. It has better recoil. It's just better to control the rifle with a short barrel. I put the rangefinder on to make up for that loss of accuracy over range, bullet drop, that I have with the short barrel. So there's that. The Compensator V2 is great for recoil control. Again, this is great for handling on the weapon. Now, this locks you out of using a suppressor. You can't use a suppressor if you're using a compensator, but having a suppressor is seriously overrated. All right, let's move on to my next weapon. Let's move on to the Mark 14 here. I'll show you my Mark 14 setup. Now, this is my suppressed weapon. So, like I said, I do tend to do bases loud. Even in tier mode, I do tend to do things loud. It's not that bad. It's not that hard. Just you stay mobile, and it's actually better. Like I said, most combat situations are going to end up loud anyway. That said, however, use your pistol a lot, and use this right here. All right, so what this does is this provides me a medium range engagement weapon. And what I mean by that is, okay, there's a lot of long shots you can take in the game, but realistically in this game, there's never a time you're required to fire over 300 meters. I mean, never. Never. You never need to fire that far. I mean, I know a lot of people like to make the long shots, but let's face it, there's never a time the game requires you to fire over, say, 300 meters. So what I did was I put together a nice medium-range engagement sniper rifle, which is also usable as an assault rifle if the need arises. Now, I'm using the extended buttstock because it simply helps so much with the recoil. Because this weapon is available to be fired on full auto, I have the extended buttstock. I use the G28 Scope because I have the option to quickly switch to a red dot sight if I need quick target acquisition. And to be honest, the long scope on it, I believe it's like, what, 4 times magnification or something? That ain't bad. It's good enough for the distance you need to fire. Extended magazine, again, why not? The Foregrip V4, again, it helps with recoil, and that's something that's really important with rifles. These rifles can have a, they can have a tad of recoil. The rangefinder and the standard barrel, again, this is the same thing as at TAR-21. If we look at the barrel, you can see I'm using the shortest barrel for it, and I'm using a rangefinder to make up for that loss of accuracy over range that I have with the short barrel. I'm using the short barrel, again, for the same reasons I said for the TAR-21. This weapon I do run a suppressor on. So this is my weapon. When I enter a base, I enter with the Mark 14. when I get into the base closer, because the range of detection for the sound of a sniper rifle, you know, even suppressed, is much farther than other weapons. When I get into the base, that's when I use my pistol. And I tend to do a lot of the work inside of a base with just a pistol. When you're until you're detected, you're actually quite fine using a pistol. It's 1 or 2 shots to down each target. That said, I always plug 2 shots in each target just to make sure, because every once in a while you'll get a target that won't drop in 1 shot from stealth, and you might hesitate and get detected. So I say always put 2 shots in every enemy, at least 2 shots, just to make sure. Now, once I'm inside the base, that's what I'm using. If I get detected, that's when I switch to this. And this thing is a man-eater. This thing is vicious. Now, you can use any rifle you want in this place, but this is a vicious machine. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about with my loadout. It is deliberate. The reason I have the weapons in the hands that I have them in, like, for instance, you notice my assault rifle is on my right side, my sniper rifle is on my left side. That is deliberate, and there is a reason behind that. I'm going to show you why right now. So we're going to pull out my pistol. So let's say we're in a base, we're shooting targets, suddenly we get discovered. What do? We hit triangle to swap weapons. When you hit triangle, or I'm on the PS4 or whatever system you're on, when you switch from your pistol, let's do that again. When you switch from your pistol, your player immediately grabs the weapon on your right side. You want the weapon on your right side to be your quick fire weapon. I don't want to accidentally draw a sniper rifle and then have to switch to my assault rifle. You want your quick acquisition weapon on your right side. You want that weapon to quickly be able to acquire targets and fire. Now I have the choice to swap to my sniper rifle if I want and take those longer, more quiet, stealthy shots. And with this sniper, of course, with the G28 Scope. Now keep in mind the G28 Scope, of course, has its quirks. Actually, that's kind of a good thing. Let's go back to the G28 Scope. I've showed this multiple times in many of my sniper rifle testing videos. The G28 Scope has a couple problems. It's zeroed on the red dot sight, you know, at the top of the scope, and not this. That means it's actually shooting high, technically. Let me show you what I mean. Let's find a target to shoot at. Here we go. This is perfect right here. This will work. Anything will work. Let's use this. So when I come up to this wall and I fire a bullet, let's back up actually. You can see it shoots above the crosshair just slightly. It actually aims at the top of the crosshair. Now you may say, well, that's a fault. That may be a fault, but I'll tell you what. The reason I use this scope is for quick target acquisition. And because this sight is the way it is, it's just, you know, it's something you just have to learn. You can acquire targets quicker and adjust for less bullet drop because you're actually shooting over the crosshair. Now, shooting over the crosshair will never have you shooting over an enemy. It's too slight to ever be worrying about shooting over an enemy, because at any range where that would happen, there's going to be bullet drop affecting it and you're actually going to hit them. So what I'm saying is, with this particular scope and this rifle, with this setup, you basically never have to adjust for bullet drop. I mean, hardly ever. You never really have to adjust for more bullet drop than, say, 2 mil dots. So it makes it really quick and easy to acquire targets, and that's why I use this sight. Well, that plus this option right here, the red dot sight. I can easily swap this onto full auto and use it like a quiet assault rifle. So I think I've explained to you the loadout I use and why I use it. And, you know, again, I've had so many questions as to why I do what I do. This is it. If you guys want, you know, a Darkdally recommended loadout, this is it right here. This is incredibly versatile. It's usable in every situation, especially if you know, don't forget to make use of your pistol. Make use of your pistol. Use this as your primary stealth weapon. When I put it away, my assault rifle comes out. Let's pull the sniper out. Use the sniper when you first come into a base to take out what you can from long range. When you get into the base, you use your pistol as much as you can, because again, hey, everything dies with one shot anyway. And you know what, a pistol, it's really not that hard. You shouldn't be shooting over 100 meters with a pistol, and the bullet drop really isn't that bad. It's really easy to get used to. I've taken out multiple targets, you know, at over 100 meters with this pistol. What I'm saying is you can use this to clear the entire base. When shit hits the fan, then you have this weapon. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I know everyone has their own opinions on loadouts. I'm just giving you mine. People want to know what I'm using and why I'm using it, because I am such a icon in the weapons testing community of Ghost Recon Wildlands. So this is why this is what I use, and this is why I use it. And there's a lot of things behind that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'll be getting back to you guys later. I'll probably have a look at some of your comments and have some replies. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Darkdally. I will catch you all next time.